How far, how deep can one man's delusions go? We'll find out tonight on the OSMcast. Hey folks, and welcome back to the OSMcast, your podcast for everything awesome. I'm Basil.
I'm Douglas.
I'm Kevin.
And that's us. We're recording to you from the past that will then be released into the future, the far-flung future, which is the episode after next.
Yes. We
are recording this episode in advance so that, our next episode will actually have been the MTAC podcast, MTAC in Love, and we'll talk about how much we loved or hated or everything between on MTAC. But you've already heard it, so you already know. We don't know, but you know.
I hope you know.
Because if you don't know, that means you didn't listen, which means we're sad. So sad. So go back and listen to it. Unless you just don't like con reports, in which case there's nothing I can really do for you.
I recall that thing at the con I liked was great.
And I hated a thing that was terrible.
Well, I liked the thing you thought was terrible and hated the thing you thought was great.
Oh.
Hail Niktra.
Hail Niktra!
So anyways, that was last week. This week, we'll be talking about Samurai Flamenco.
Woo!
Which is a show that we really like. We'll be talking all about it. It's going to be crazy hard because it's a show that goes places.
It will
and
be.
then keeps going places.
It might be short. It might be short to the spoilers, and then a lot of spoilers.
No, I think there's things that we can do, things that we can talk about that are not so spoiled. I think we can talk around some of the basic concepts of the show.
Yeah.
Not really getting into the show. But anyways, so who are we? We're the OSMcast. We call ourselves the podcast for everything awesome. To be honest, we're primarily an anime podcast. Mostly just due to the fact that what we really watch is anime. That's our primary entertainment. But we also do other things. We watch other TV shows, movies, we play video games, and we talk about all those sorts of things.
We drink tea.
We drink tea.
We drink a lot of tea
Sometimes we drink coffee. It happens, but not nearly as much as tea.
Well, we're in a hotel room, so I'm having to make do with coffee.
Makes sense. Here in the illustrious Embassy Suites of the Middle, not Metal. I always think they should change their name to the
Middle Tennessee
Anime Convention, so it's easier for me to pronounce. Although I might start calling things middle correctly inadvertently. But so where can you find us? Well, you already found us. Congratulations, OSMcast.com. You found us somehow. Of course, you can subscribe to us via RSS to your favorite podcast catcher. You can use iTunes for that. We have the instructions on the website. We're also on Stitcher. I don't know if anyone uses Stitcher, but we've got it.
I don't know what Stitcher is.
It's a thing you can use to get us.
Yeah, and you can totally do that.
On Stitcher.
Some means. If you're using Stitcher, you probably know what to do.
And if you're not on Stitcher, you want to try it out, well, it's there. I mean, it's free. I don't care. But you can... As long as you listen to us on whatever, I'm good. You can send us emails at awesomecast@gmail.com or any complaints to podcast@chainsawbuffet.com. Or you can find us on one of myriad, and by myriad, I mean 3 social networks. Twitter, OSMcast, Tumblr, OSMcast, Facebook, OSMcast. And of course, you can find me at It's Basil Time. And you can also find Kevin at Twitless_Kevin.
4-inch heels make all the difference.
We do.
They really do.
It's great advice, Kevin.
It is.
Kevin's really tall when he's in 4-inch heels, guys. So tall. Speaking of Twitter, we actually a lot of questions on the flamencos from Twitter. Thanks, guys. So we're going to have another question segment after spoilers. But before that, we're going to get into our moments of awesome.
Huzzah!
It's a moment of awesome.
So what Moments of Awesomes are, in case you're somehow a first-time listener, which you might be after MTech, is it's our sort of our What You've Been Playing, What You've Been Doing segment where we shortly recap things that we have been interested in. For example, one of these things might be my Dragon Quest Minute. No real news. Really, no Dragon. Well, no. They've re-trademarked the name for Dragon Quest VIII, which probably means we'll see it on cell phones soon. Great. You know what, kids? Just go buy Bravely Default. Just do it. It'll give Nintendo money because they need it, and it's because they published it. And it'll send a message to Square Enix that, hey, if they give us good RPGs on things that we own, like 3DSs and what have you, we'll buy them. So you should send us more of those things that we can buy.
I had a guy come into my work, and actually he was a coworker. He wanted to buy a 3DS, and he's like, okay, Bravely Default, Pokemon, or Fire Emblem, which one do I buy first? And I'm like, well, they're all three good games. Buy Bravely Default. And he did. And like a couple days later, he came by and said, thanks for recommending Bravely Default. That's awesome.
That's right. So, moral of the story is, buy Bravely Default. And this has been your Dragon Quest Minute.
Oh, that's the Dragon Quest Minute.
But
awesome.
Thou must.
But we want to talk about other things. What do you want to talk about, Kevin?
I don't even... Did we talk about conception for real?
Yes.
We did.
Yeah.
It's still a weird game. You hold hands, you glow, you think about Jesus, and you make star babies. That's the game. If that sounds horrible, yes, it is. If that sounds great, well, buy it. It's there.
But you like the dungeon crawling.
I love the dungeon crawling. I like, once I have the creepy little star children, I like figuring out how arranging them and new different applications of the classes, and you go into the dungeon and you kill stuff, kind of Persona style. Because Persona clone is a thing now.
Much like there is the hunting games, which are just Monster Hunter clones.
Yeah. I'm having a weird love-hate relationship with this game. I'm finding the storyline and characters and the concepts of the universe ranging anywhere from boring to highly unsettling. But I love the dungeon crawling.
And the little kids can become a giant robot.
Oh, yes. They can kind of combine Get a Robo style, the 3 pile-on, and turn into a robot. And depending on what class is, that apparently affects what kind of robot you get. I've got one with punchy arms. I've got like a sword-wielding one. That's as far as I've gotten so far.
All right.
It's a thing. I don't know what else I've been doing lately.
Well, we know what you could be doing, which we'll get to that later. So, you want to roll in, Doug?
Yeah, I'll go in. I got a moment of awesome today. In fact, we are in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and being in Murfreesboro, we ended up going to this great little pub of the Green Dragon.
Yes.
Oh man, it was so fantastic. It's this tiny little room. It's on the Greenway that's in Murfreesboro. Mm-hmm. It's right along the Greenway, kind of where the Greenway intersects with the train tracks. Just in this little place is the Green Dragon, and it's very good. They serve good high quality beers. Mm-hmm. They have several good selections on tap, and they have an even bigger selection
in bottle or can.
In bottle or can. If you pay a little extra, you can get the stoneware cup to drink out of. Or they just serve it to you in a nice glass otherwise.
Right.
And it's really tiny. There were probably only maybe 5 tables in the whole place.
And the bar.
And then the bar. We ended up having to sit at the bar because all the tables were taken. And while we were sitting in, people just kept coming in. And in addition to the tables, they also had little chairs set up around. So it's this really cozy atmosphere. Mm-hmm. And I haven't even mentioned yet that the whole bar is very Lord of the Rings inspired.
Yeah, it's very much a Tolkien bar. Or
it's
Tolkien
very
pub.
much a Tolkien pub. They have maps of Middle Earth posted up on the wall. There's a lower bar that says hobbits, for hobbit seats only.
I know they have a lot of the poetry and song stuff listed, like in the bathroom.
Yeah, there was a drinking song in the bathroom, at least the men's bathroom.
Yeah. And the ambient music that they were playing was Lord of the Rings music. The bartenders were all wearing vests and full aprons.
Yeah.
Like an old-timey...
It was very classy.
Yeah, it was nice.
It's a very classy joint. It looks like a pub.
Yeah, it definitely, in my mind, it transcends from being a bar into a pub. Because they were about the beer. They were 100% about the beer. But the food they had was really good, too.
Yeah, it was simple, but it was very good.
Yeah. Like, the cheeses that were cut up were very good. I actually got a salmon and lox, like a smoked salmon sandwich, and that was good.
I had their 3 cheese. It was like Gouda and 2 other cheeses as a grilled cheese sandwich, and it was really good.
Yeah, one of our other companions had a grilled cheese sandwich, and it was a really good grilled cheese sandwich. But, the main attraction there was the
atmosphere. It was very cozy. It was very warm. It was very friendly.
Yeah, and the owner was one of the bartenders, and he was there, and he was just so friendly, and he was so happy that so many people were coming to his pub.
Like, which, we went on Thursday because we know that, that place is going to get slammed throughout the weekend. Because it's not very big, and there's going to be a whole lot of nerds.
Yeah, well, like one of the tables was straight up a picnic table. It was awesome.
Like, it was really nice, and the greenway wasn't bad either.
Oh yeah, it was actually kind of interesting how Murfreesboro has the greenway that just runs right through downtown. Like, so if you want to get off the greenway and go stop at a gas station and get a drink, you can do that. And I don't think any of our greenways in Huntsville can do that. Like,
no, not, or at least not nearly as easily. But you also do go like under bridges and stuff, so you get a little bit of sewer life.
Yeah.
But then it would be immediately like this awesome, like by a creek and some trees, and there was also like the tri-tree.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Or the treesome, as Charlie put it, because it was 3 trees that were sort of growing in tandem, wrapped around together. It was cool. But speaking of things like that, I think we're starting into this, and so we need to talk about it at some point. But the 2 of us, and possibly Kevin, and who knows what will happen after this. But we're playing a game that's partially taking over our lives.
Yeah.
Called Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn.
It's only partially. It still hasn't taken over as bad as WoW did.
Hey, Final Fantasy XIV, we're so sorry. We're so sorry.
Yeah, but they manned up and they did it.
Yeah, they did it right. It's pretty good.
Like, this game is good, and for me, I'm playing this as much as I played WoW.
Oh, I'm playing this significantly less, but that's a good thing because WoW ate my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably taking up this game just to have fun with friends, and because every so often I dabble in MMOs. But yeah, if it starts taking over my life, I'm quitting.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll talk about this now, but I'm sure that you will get various updates. We'll probably have a Final Fantasy XIV minute.
Yeah.
To start, keep it appraised. Because it's an MMO, so you can't really talk about it once and be done with it. It's constantly changing, constantly shifting. For example, right now they've got a Easter-esque...
Yeah, they've got an Easter event going on now.
And the game is very... Obviously, apparently the first game, one of the major problem was it wasn't paying attention to things like Guild Wars or World of Warcraft or any of the other big MMOs that they should have been paying attention to. And so they've got a new team in place with a new director, and he apparently totally understands the whole concept of checking out these other games. And so 14 A Realm Reborn feels a lot like, most other MMOs, but it's a very nicely done execution of those ideas.
Yeah. There's a lot of ways where I can see how it's a little bit like World of Warcraft streamlined, or it's a little bit like a streamlined World of Warcraft that took several pages from Guild Wars and the Star Wars MMO. one of the things that I noticed is I went ahead and did a quest before you. Mm-hmm. And then you came along and you did the same quest, and I just kind of tagged along behind you. Mm-hmm. But the NPCs that you had to do your gesture at, you would do. There are a couple of quests in this game where you actually do like a gesture, like you do the dance or you do the soothe emote, and the NPCs detect that and they react to it. Well, those NPCs, because I had already done the quest and I had already gotten them to move along or whatever it was, they weren't there anymore for me. So I'm pretty sure that those NPCs only exist to people who are doing the quest.
Right.
Which actually in a lot of ways makes it easier, because I remember in World of Warcraft there would be a bunch of quests where you had to go pick up an object that exists in the world, and you'd be in competition with other people doing that quest.
Right.
Well, for this, if they're spawning just for you to do that quest, so you're not in competition with them.
Yeah, well, I also know when I was trying out the hunting gathering skills.
Yeah.
Or the gathering skills. I'm a woodcutter. I cut wood because trees are fuckers. Apparently,
fuck trees.
Fuck trees. They exist to be punched.
And I thought it was really neat how
punch.
World of Warcraft, you right click on a tree and you just do an animation and you get tree.
Yeah.
Whereas in this game, you click on it and it goes, okay, you're going to get a total of 4 tries. Here are the things that you can get from this tree. And you get to choose what things you get.
Yeah.
But there's percentages, and as you level up, the percentages are higher, so you have better chances of getting stuff. And so it's sort of like you sort of get to pick and choose, and there's a chance that, if you want something that's higher level, it's going to, you have a chance of not getting it, or if you want to be more, you want to get something simpler, lower level, but you're guaranteed it. So I thought that was interesting, but all the spawn points just spawn for you.
Yeah.
Like, so someone could be chopping on a tree and I can come on, as long as I have that spawn point, I can still chop on that tree too, and no one cares.
Yeah, so nobody can grief you that way.
They also have this fate system, which is very much like in Guild Wars 2, where occasionally you'll get groups of enemies that are specific to this event, little mini event, this little circle. Mm-hmm. And you got to kill them or bring something to somebody. And you do that to, get extra experience. And then there's other quests that you can pick. But anyways, it's been a lot of fun. I know that we're really enjoying it.
Yeah.
We've been both feeling the MMO urges for a while now, and it's scratching the itch exactly where we needed it to, and it's all Final Fantasy E, which is
great for us, because Final Fantasy games are what I grew up on.
And honestly, what really got me wanting to play it was, frankly, Bravely Default.
Yeah.
Because it was a really good Final Fantasy game, and I had forgotten what it was to play a really good Final Fantasy game. And this is, again, a really good Final Fantasy game just set as an MMO. And I was really enjoying that. The other thing is, we've got a new season of anime, which means a new season of sports!
Is it a new season of sports?
Yes. Huh. We've got at least 2 or 3 new sports shows.
Okay.
And there's a couple that are really good, and some that aren't so good. But one of the ones I want to talk about is a good one called Haikyu, which is volleyball anime. It's actually a Shonen Jump volleyball anime. So, it's a manga by a one Haruichi Furudate. And it's about these kids playing volleyball. And it's good, it's fun. It starts off with this kid, and he is obviously short. But he watches this program, he sees it on, playing on a TV. It's like a demo unit. And it's about this other kid who is playing volleyball who is also short, but the kid jumps really high so he can still spike the ball. And he's like, I want to be that. Like, the kid obviously saw that, and that was his inspiration. And so he goes he shows him next to middle school, and he is the one member of the male volleyball team. Like, I think on the books he's a part of the female volleyball team as like a manager or something.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, I'm going to have a male volleyball team. because he really wants to play volleyball.
He's got to get to the Christmas Bowl.
Yeah, or
whatever they have in
their
volleyball.
equivalent of Koshien or what have you.
Yeah.
And it shows him with his ragtag group of friends who he's collected to form a team. He's the only one that actually can play volleyball. And they face off against this other team. And this other team is being led by he's our main character is a really good spiker. And this other team that they're facing, who's like one of the ones that are like a cinch to possibly win the entire tournament.
Yeah.
Is by this other guy who's like super hardcore about it, and he's a setter. And these other guys are really lackadaisical because this team is obviously a slipshot team. They don't have to try very hard to beat this team, and the setter's getting really ticked off because they're not being serious enough. And so you've got spiker guy and setter guy, and they're completely at odds because they're on opposite teams, and they're constantly yelling at each other and how they're going to be the main characters of this show, more or less. And then at the end of the episode, something crazy happens that I'm not going to talk about because it's an episode, but it's pretty good. But the show is a lot of fun. It's got really good humor. It's got a lot of good physical humor and goofy faces and a lot of things that make a good show that would be any show. But this has got it. It just has to be about volleyball. It's Production IG's animating it, so it looks really good. It's obviously this the guy, the manga doing the fun, the Shonen Jump thing. It's a Shonen Jump property, so it's got that level of quality to it. And so I'm really enjoying it. But now that we have momented our awesomes, it is time. Now we're taking a musical interlude, and we're going to come back with Samurai Flamenco. Flamenco is a form of Spanish folk music and dance in the region of Andalusia in southern Spain. It includes things that have nothing to actually do with the show we're talking about, which is called Samurai Flamenco.
Yeah, he has the honor of the samurai and the passion of flamenco.
For a long time as I was watching this show, I didn't know that flamenco was like an actual thing. I thought it was just a funny nonsense word that he had come up with.
Nope. Flamenco's a real thing.
Yeah.
It is a real thing. It's about one man and his buddy cop buddy and their crazy adventures of our main character Masayoshi Hazama doing his best to be a superhero.
Now, Masayoshi, he has no superpowers. He has no gadgets. He has no practical training to be a superhero.
He just really wants to be a hero. He's working as a male model instead.
So he's got that part down.
He's working as a male model instead, but he desperately wants to be a hero.
I wonder if that's kind of supposed to be ironic, because and even in the show, he gets a job on a tokusatsu show briefly, that most female tokusatsu actors start as models.
Yeah.
And this is a show that is headlined by two guys. One is the director, Takahiro Omori. And he has done things. He's directed a lot of really good things, like Natsume's Book of Friends, Princess Jellyfish, which we all really enjoyed.
Yeah, he apparently directed a whole bunch of things that I really liked.
I would like to point out, he directed Bacano and Durara.
Yeah.
One of his first things I think he did as a key animator was he worked on Bao.
Yes,
which is important for us because we were like Bao here. We're a pro Bao show.
Buy the JoJo's game. Get the Bao DLC.
And then on the other hand, you've got the guy who wrote the script, Hideyuki Kurata. And his probably biggest thing, at least for me when I first really paid attention, was he wrote the story and stuff for Read or Die.
Which Read or Die was cool.
And I actually, and yes, he directed Orimo, but we're not going to really hold that against him.
Orimo's issues were built in. There was no getting away from that.
But no, the stuff that I think that he wrote himself is, and by and large, pretty good. Pretty good. And I could definitely, once I read that, I could totally see a lot of Read or Die vibes.
Yeah.
In Samurai Flamenco.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that there. There's a little bit... that, too, has a little bit of a crazy... Even when things are normal, things are a little weird in Read or Die.
And what's interesting about the show is that it's pretty normal.
Yeah, it's... I think some people have called it an anime kick-ass, which is not...
Kick-ass with a tokusatsu flavor, although... Despite the fact that he gets his butt kicked by middle schoolers in the first episode, I'd argue he quickly becomes way more competent than Kick-Ass.
Yeah, the premise of, the first couple of minutes is Hazma, he's caught naked in an alley, I think because somebody beat him up and took his clothes. And that's where our cop friend finds him and meets him for the first time.
And he initially thinks he's just some kind of weirdo, indecent exposure guy.
And takes him back to his house where he can put on actual clothes and finds out that he was not entirely wrong.
No, he's totally not a weirdo. He just wants to be a superhero, guys. How is that not completely normal?
He's a secret otaku.
Even he actually realizes that it's not normal. He just really wants to do it anyways.
Yeah.
Because it's something he has to hide from his manager.
Yeah. Because
he knows that it's weird. People aren't accepting of it. But he doesn't care because, the world needs justice. Jaywalkers need justice. Litterers need justice.
People who steal umbrellas.
Someone has to take care of these things. It doesn't matter that their crimes are so petty that they're not really crimes. Yeah. But they are crimes on the book, so therefore justice.
Kind of like Dr. Horrible. Dr. Horrible was a straight-up hero, not just an ironic hero.
I don't think Dr. Horrible's a hero at all.
Well, he's the hero of the story.
I'm pretty sure... Well, I think that makes him a protagonist, not a hero.
He's a hero, not just a protagonist, you should say.
And Goto is you've got this really neat juxtapositions. Whatever word I'm trying to say here. I'm sure y'all know what it is.
Juxtaposition.
That's it. Told y'all knew. Between Goto, who is a police officer, whose own real quirk is he's constantly texting his girlfriend all the time. But he's a police officer, so he's actually trying to enforce the laws that are actually important and actually try to do his job. Whereas you've got, Hazama, who is instead trying to be a vigilante superhero, but his goal is to stop all these really silly crimes that are only barely crimes.
But,
really, the first episode just has him dealing with youthful hooliganism. And that's... no one cares.
Yeah, let's see. Although, because of his actions getting beat up by those middle school kids, he does get a certain level of internet famous.
Because somebody taped him and put him on YouTube, or whatever they call it in the show.
He does have this really good rant about how the kids are just being stupid and annoying.
Yeah, and it's like, they ignore you because they don't care about you. The only reason I'm giving you shit is because I actually care about you guys. Kind of thing.
And you're annoying, so stop it.
And he gets kind of internet famous off of it.
And suddenly, and various events occurs, and as these things go, since there's the plot where you got this guy who wants to be a superhero, he starts becoming more of a superhero. But it's still overall pretty normal. It doesn't get too wacky. He does run into a previous Sentai star, sort of the proto world's version of.
Well, he's basically a thinly veiled fictional version of, and I'm blanking on his name, but the guy who played the original Kamen Rider, who you may also know as Segata Sanshiro from the Sega Saturn days, who was famous for doing his own stunts and being a legitimate martial artist badass in real life. He's kind of Japanese Chuck Norris.
And then eventually he does find a guy who actually wants to make him legal weapons.
Yeah, he's making stationary as weapons.
Yeah, he's a stationary. He works for a stationary company. So he's got, like, stationary gadgets. Like, I'm actually having a hard time remembering examples. Like, was there, like, stapler nunchucks or something?
Yeah, there's stapler nunchucks. There was a white out, measuring tape.
Oh, yeah, like, and that was, like, you could use a measuring tape like a grappling hook. It was weird.
So this is also a little bit like the old school Kamen Rider stuff where the marketing is built right in. Stuff products that you can buy and use with the Samurai Flamenco label on them. It's built right into the show. However, I don't think they're actually making Samurai Flamenco stationary.
Probably not.
But if they were, I would buy it.
That would be really great dealer's room swag.
I would. Like, it really would.
Just like Samurai Flamenco stationary.
Yeah.
I think, sadly, the show kind of flew under a lot of people's radar.
It kind of did.
Even in Japan, I get the impression this kind of flew under the radar.
Well, let's see. But going along, so one of the other things that he acquires that Samurai Flamenco acquires is the flamenco girls.
Ooh, well, initially one flamenco girl.
It's initially one flamenco girl
who starts as kind of like a copycat vigilante.
Well, that's actually not entirely true. You see, she was actually planning to become a magical girl even before Samurai Flamenco appeared, but she was waiting to do her debut until she had everything in order, and she was actually waiting on getting her magical electric baton before she went out onto the streets, and so she had to change her name to Flamenco Girl so that people wouldn't think that she was just copying.
And she's a little bit more vigilante justice than Flamenco actually is. She will stomp your balls. Yeah.
Whereas Flamenco was more along the lines of, tie you up, bring you over to where the police are stationed. She's a little more...
She will taser you and stomp your balls.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, that's what she spends most of her time doing.
If you're lucky in that order.
And that's Maya, part of the Mineral Miracle Muse, aka the Flamenco Girls, which is enjoyed by Mizuki Misawa, who is just sort of the straight man of our trio.
Yeah, she's the one whose name I can never remember, but she's the sensible one who occasionally suggests calling the cops.
And then you have the Moe.
Her name is Moe.
Morita.
Yeah.
She is Moe. Her name is Moe. She's just in it because Mari wants to do it, and she has a horribly, maybe 90% one-sided crush on her.
It's either a girl crush or straight-up lesbian crush. One or the other.
And Mari reciprocates it just enough to keep her going, I think.
Well, that's why I almost want to say it's more of a girl crush than an actual lesbian crush, because Mari reciprocates it enough, they're obviously really close friends.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obviously they are a trio.
Yeah.
They are friends. They might squabble a bit, but in the end, they're all held together by the fact that Mari's actually super ultra charismatic.
Yeah.
She is also the major songwriter of the group. She is sort of the focal point of it.
Yeah.
If she's unhappy, they're all unhappy. If she's happy, they're all doing great.
She's sort of the Beyonce
of
their Destiny's Child. If Destiny's Child was also superheroes.
Get on that.
Get on that, Destiny's Child.
Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, don't care. Get on that.
But really, the core of the show is Hazama and Goto.
Yeah, it really is.
Where Hazama will I'm going to do this crazy thing, and Goto's like, you really shouldn't do that crazy thing.
Don't do that crazy thing.
Don't do that crazy thing.
So many times where he gets fed up with Hazama. He's like, I'm not going to deal with Hazama anymore. But then he's texting his girlfriend telling him about this crazy thing that he's going to go do, and the girlfriend's just like, and you're really just going to let him go? And you're really just going to let him go and not stop him or protect him?
Damn it.
And he's like, darn you, girl, and why do you have to be the voice of
reason for my reason of saying no, that's stupid.
Why are you the voice of be nice to my friend despite sometimes being contrary to reason? Yes, that's power, friendship, One Piece, whatever.
I guess she's the voice of his conscience.
So you end up with this really fun show.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I didn't realize how low-key it was going in, because the opening is way not low-key. The opening is like this awesome dramatic sequence where...
My theory for a long time was that the opening was his dream, that he was dreaming all this happening.
No, I think that's true.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's like after it shows you a bunch of the characters, it goes through a big scene of like this weird sci-fi airplane flying away with his manager and like banging on the window, and he's in this really cool sci-fi battlesuit version of his costume, and he like kicks a hole through a giant robot, and it's all awesome. And then he falls out of bed, and it's like,
and then you get the ending theme where it's the MMM, the mineral miracle muse
who are doing some song or another for both endings.
Yeah.
Which, boy, I kind of thought that was the weakest part of the music of the show, honestly. But I was not enthralled with them as idol singers. I love them as characters. I wasn't enthralled with them musically.
Well, there's a scene near the middle of the show where it's just Mari singing, and it's a really powerful moment of the show. And so I really feel that while that might be sort of a weak link as far as music goes,
it's important that it was included.
Yeah.
So that you know that this is like a pop group.
Yes, that's a big deal. I mean, it does figure into the plot of the show, and that's even how they kind of meet in their civilian identities at all, because he's a model, they're idol singers, they hit some of the same circles.
And so you end up with this, it's just a good show. It's sort of similar to Kick-Ass in that, it's a normal, typical Japan, but there's just this guy who wants to be a costume.
Like, the art style is pretty typical of what you expect from a show that's about like real life. But at the same time, the show can be a little bit funny. Like if you're just watching the show, the characters don't look like they're making super funny faces. But if you pause it, you can get some really weird looking images.
Well, yeah, it was obviously the show
samurai quality.
Yeah, this show had some really goofy drawing going on with it. I am really curious to get a hold of the Blu-rays one day just to see what it will end up looking like.
Well, it struck me that the key frame animation was done really, really well, but it was all the in-between animation that was a little off, and so when you're just pausing it, you don't know what you're going to get. You're not necessarily going to get a keyframe on pause.
Don't know for sure. I kind of wondered a lot of times if it was running honestly on a really low budget.
I would not be surprised, and my only worry is that because it doesn't seem like it's doing so well in Japan, that they may not, get the money from the Blu-ray sales to really spend on touching up all the animation so the final product ends up looking really good, because it's done by Studio Manglobe.
Yeah.
And Manglobe has done some really good stuff. They did, House of Five Leaves, that I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
They did... a lot of their money was made by stuff like The World Like God Only Knows. They did some of the Sengoku Basara stuff, and they worked on Michiko to Hachen, which is a really good show. So
we know they can do really good work, and I honestly suspect that as good as it was probably because they were working their ass off on a relatively tiny budget.
Well, one of the problems that I have with this show is that it's really hard to talk about it and tell how much I love about it without mentioning spoilers.
Yes, it might be worse to say everything we've said that doesn't apply to the show universally. Anything we've talked about in the show largely happens in the first 6 episodes or so.
No, I would say everything we've talked about actually
everything we've talked about is
throughout the entire show. Core. Everything we've said is completely legitimate.
That's true.
Through the entire show.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about it being fairly normal and sensible.
Yes.
Yes, and that's true.
True. Throughout the entire show. I'm not joking. This is not me kidding around. That's one of the reasons why I like this show. It's because it does keep this normal pace, this normality about it, through the entire show.
Yeah.
No matter what crazy things you might think might happen, it's normal. But I'll explain to it later, which, unfortunately, this is the kind of show that once you get into the meat of it to really talk about it, you do have to spoil the absolute frickin' heck out of it.
Yeah.
So, but we recorded for almost 20 minutes. Once you include music breaks and stuff, that's pretty good. So we're gonna stop here. Suffice to say, you should watch it.
Can we do 2 different spoiler sections?
Yeah, we can do 2 spoiler sections.
Let's do 2 different spoiler sections. One will be the light spoilers, so that if we haven't sold you on the show yet,
well, actually,
you can listen to the light spoilers, and then we'll get into the heavy spoilers.
What I actually want to do is I want to do it in 2 chunks. One that covers... This is sort of like part 1, which is the first 6 or so episodes.
Yeah.
And then I want to do like the next 11 episodes as a chunk.
Okay.
And then do the final episodes, the final chunk.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Because,
and then,
I think that's basically what I'm getting at. Yeah,
I think so too. That there's a lot of these overriding themes that sort of, that go out throughout this show. And we're doing all these chunks. Realize this is a 22 episode show. This show, just so you warn you, covers a lot of ground.
It does.
It's a very ambitious show, which is amazing how well it pulled it off with its limited budget.
I'm still in the non-spoiler section. I do want to say that I really loved this show. I watched the first couple of episodes, and the first couple of episodes are really good. They're a really good show. But then when you get to 7 episodes, that's when it transforms into a great show.
And it continues at pace for a good bit. You can watch this on Crunchyroll. I'm not sure if it's on Daisuke or not, but I know for a fact 'cause that's how we all watched was on Crunchyroll. So I definitely... it was Aniplex who licensed it, so it's got to be.
Yeah.
So it's got to be on Daisuke. It's probably some Hulu and some other places. But you should totally watch it. And we're going to take a musical break. Then we'll come back with our first section of spoilers. Then we'll have us break in a section of spoilers, and we'll take our questions. But for now, we'll be right back with more Samurai Flamenco.
Samurai Flamenco!
Samurai Flamenco. This is the OSMcast.
Okay, so episode 7 is where the series takes a massive psychotic break from reality.
Yeah, well, that's that. Now, we warned you, this is in spoiler section. But episode 7, it even starts off all hunky-dory.
It starts off looking... Actually, I like the episode 7 because it really started giving the sense of shit is going to get real. And I thought it was going to get real in a completely different way.
Well, yeah, because it starts off with this whole thing where they're going to have, Samurai Flamenco hang out with Goto while they do a drug,
or
a routine drug bust.
They make him chief for the day or something.
It's like a little publicity stunt.
They're doing a publicity stunt, and it's supposed to be like, okay, we're going to do this little arrest thing. It's not going to be a big deal. It's a drug lab, It's like, and
then you start seeing they'll pull out, they're flashing guns and things, and you're like, oh man, someone might get shot. Oh crap. This is going to get really serious.
Flamenco might get shot. Goto might get shot. I mean, they even really pantomime. They got the one guy who's freaking out, and he's got there's the death's door with a gun in it. You think, this is going to get bad. The one guy's freaking out. He's probably drugged out of his mind, And no.
And then...
That's not what happens at all.
Then he turns into a giant robot gorilla with a guillotine in his chest.
Yeah, seriously, that's what happens. When I was watching this for the first time, I had just watched an episode of some other anime, and I was about to put away anime for a while and go do something else, and when I got a call from Basil, and Basil was just like, oh my gosh, Doug, you've got to go watch Samurai Flamenco. You've got to go watch Samurai Flamenco right now.
And then call me back.
And so I did, and I had to call him back right away, because it was so used to the mundane, you were totally beginning to think that this is a completely mundane anime world, that nothing like this is going to happen, and then all of a sudden, guillotine gorilla.
It's shit gets real in the sense of suddenly real monsters, like real Kamen Rider-esque tokusatsu monsters appear in the show.
And then for like an episode, it was like, holy crap. But then immediately after that, it was normal.
Yeah.
Like,
They reference, like, well, one of the things they did is something that you, Kevin, have mentioned to me is pretty common in Kamen Rider series.
Yeah.
Where the first bad guy kills guys, and Guillotine Gorilla did kill 3 people.
It's like the first episode, the monster might kill random civilians or cops or whatever, and then usually they never kill anyone else. The heroes get there in time.
Yeah. And so after Guillotine Gorilla, none of the other monsters of the week... and they reference, like, there being several monsters of the week.
yeah.
You know, this, like, he's now, like, you know, the next episode later, he's now fought, like, 6 of them. They don't kill anybody anymore. They blow themselves up at the very end, but how many episodes later is it that he's fighting one, and he's fighting one in the middle of, like, a crowded plaza, and people are just walking by, like, this is normal, this happens.
They're used to it. They don't even call the cops anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it gets to the point where, like, even the cops are like, they form a task force with Goto and the lead to work with Samurai Flamenco because he's obviously the solution. And eventually they're like, we don't even want her bothering anymore. Because, you know...
He's got it, you know. Flamenco's got it, you know. It's normal.
And then after a little bit, you know, they started actually introducing King Torture.
Yeah.
And then he actually starts forcing shit gets a little more real. And then that's the scene where we get with Mari and Moe.
Yeah.
You know,
he kidnaps them to torture them, and does.
Yeah.
And does. That's what the scene you were talking about earlier that's really powerful when...
Well, yeah, because near the end of it, because they deal with King Torture. And as, you know, and it turns out King Torture is sort of the reverse Flamenco.
He's the tokusatsu fanboy who empathized with the villains. He won.
Well, but Flamenco has this backstory that he inherited from his grandfather and everything.
Yeah, like his grandfather made up this character.
Like, that's why he's into Flamenco, and, like, I think King Torture makes some reference that he's somehow connected to all that.
Yeah.
But
this is where we start getting into the period of crazy genre shifts every couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Because he then beats King Torture. And he beats King Torture fairly shortly after King Torture is introduced, and there are still a whole bunch of...
episodes.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, well, what's he gonna do now? He beat the bad guy, and we're only, like, halfway through.
It's like, uh-oh, there's another organization.
And that starts happening, where suddenly you discover that, you know, in his quest to become this tokusatsu, this Japanese hero,
Yeah.
they start going through all the phases, all the kinds of what kind of Japanese heroes you could be.
Because as soon as they're done with kind of the Kamen Rider arc, it goes to Sentai. He gets a different outfit.
He joins up with the Flamen Rangers.
They have
The Flamangers.
The Flamangers, and there's 4 other ones with different colored outfits. You know, they become a Sentai team,
And they're all and they show up now after this throughout the whole show. And you've got your Flamen Black, your Flamen Pink.
At first, they're all trying to be Flamen Red.
Right.
They're all of them trying to be Flamen Red. And they all feel that they have equal claim to be Flamen Red.
But
the irony is they all fit the archetypes for the colors they end up being really well if you watch any tokusatsu shows. But
which is probably the point.
yes.
And and they go through this whole thing where they've got a whole new set of even crazier, From Beyond.
From Beyond.
And I'm really sad that in the first episode of From Beyond, they suddenly do this really crazy, like, retro, like, introduction of the villain. And they never do it again. They never do it again throughout the whole show. And that was really sad because I thought that was really brilliant how they did it. And then they stopped. But then again, the whole From Beyond arc only lasted a couple of episodes.
Yep.
Like, as we were watching it, me and Barry kept saying that Samurai Flamenco was a little bit like, it jumps the shark, and then actively goes out and seeks other sharks to jump over multiples at a time.
On a rocket-powered motorcycle through rings of fire.
Yes.
And
Like... it's a show that's kind of all about escalation. Like, it just keeps escalating itself up one level higher, and one level higher, and one level higher, while at the same time it normalizes the previous level.
Yeah.
And quickly normalizes the level you've gotten to.
Yeah, so not long after they're into the Sentai Ranger thing, they're the Flamen Rangers. You know, that becomes normal too. You know, people expect to see the robot fighting a giant monster.
They get a giant robot.
Yeah.
Because they're a Sentai team.
So that whole thing about the opening being his dream may have been more of a premonition than a dream. Like, his manager does eventually find out, and she turns out to be okay with it, because he's still making money.
And in fact, he's becoming more and more popular because of it.
Yeah, so she can't help but support it.
And as it turns out, Red Axe, you know, he is in fact actually the commander of these forces.
And at first, when he's first training Samurai Flamenco, he's kind of being a little shady, where he's always having to, like, disappear for a while and then come back. And that's explained as the reason he's been disappearing and coming back now is because he's actually secretly been the manager of the Flamen Rangers, and he's been putting it together and training up.
And he was actually, while he thought he assembled a bunch of Reds, he realized that, you know, Hazama was the ultimate Red. He was going to be the ultimate leader. And he kind of is, just thanks to the show. Like, he's not very good at leading, but somehow he still pulls it off because he has a heart of justice.
Well, it's called Samurai Flamenco, and he was Samurai Flamenco.
That's true.
And they're the Flamen Rangers, so it really only makes sense that he would be the leader. Which brings up an interesting point, that out of everybody in the show, Hazama himself has the most presence of mind to ask, wait a minute, why is everything flamenco?
Well, it starts with, you know, at the thrilling conclusion of the From Beyond, where he meets up with Beyond Flamenco.
Yes. Beyond Flamenco.
His evil doppelganger.
Because this was a show about escalation and crazy cliffhangers, and how are they going to top themselves next?
Yeah.
Like, watching this show, it's like, can you really nail this ending? Can you do it? Because you keep escalating at such a rapid pace. Can you really do that? And I just remember one of the big things was like, all right, they're doing it. And next thing you know, and it's like, I'm Beyond Flamenco. And it looks just like him, but in a weird, goofy Beyond From Beyond outfit. And you're like, what?
Like, he calls himself his brother. But he explains he's not like a blood brother, just like a...
sort of a soul brother.
Yeah, which is weird.
And then they suddenly have this conversation as this other robot's drilling into Mount Fuji to reignite and explode and destroy Japan.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? And they beat him, but he's like, but look out, there's going to be something else even bigger. And you're like, what? What can be bigger than this? And then all of a sudden, everything's fine, everything's dandy, and then the government's out to get him.
Yeah. Suddenly the government is out to get, like, not just Samurai Flamenco, but all of the previous...
Like, also, all the Kamen Rider Tokusatsu heroes were all actual heroes.
Yeah, it's like, it's all real. It's all, like, they all show up in the big battle against From Beyond, because From Beyond turns out to have hundreds of monsters at their disposal.
And that's okay, because Japan has hundreds of Tokusatsu heroes.
Yes, and they were all real heroes. It was all true. They were just making TV shows to document them to inspire youths to become heroes.
And all of a sudden and there were sort of shades of this that was leading up to this, where, the governor or dude, guy in charge, was he governor? Prime Minister.
Prime Minister.
He was constantly like, no, you should listen to me. I'm the Prime Minister. I'm important.
Oh, and he was the Prime Minister throughout this entire thing. As soon as he's introduced, he's constantly checking his ratings. And they're always really high. They're always like 80%, 81%, and they're always ever increasing. And so you kind of have to ask, why does he care so much about his approval ratings if they're over 80%?
But then all of a sudden, he starts, locking up all the heroes. Out of nowhere.
Like, he's trying to say they were behind everything. It was all their fault,
And so suddenly our genre now is government conspiracy.
Yeah.
Flamenco on the run. And then, our Captain America type guy. Who was...
I remember that guy.
And this is kind of where the focus of the show on the friendship between Goto and Hazama really comes kind of back to itself. It gets back into focus because, during the whole Sentai arc, Hazama and Goto are really close during the Kamen Rider arc, but during the Sentai arc, Goto just isn't around as much because Hazama's busy being a ranger and everything.
He's kind of hanging out with the other 4 guys, and
but as Hazama has to go on to the run, like he stays on the run for a long time, but then he's
even kind of actively staying away from Goto because they don't want to get him involved.
Yeah, but he meets a homeless person who he helped in one of the first couple of episodes, so everything kind of comes back in on itself. And the homeless person reminds him to fall back on his friends, and so he caves in and he calls Goto, and Goto's just like, "It's about time, you idiot!" And I love that moment. And so he gets Goto back in on the conspiracy, and he's using like his police connections to try to find out what's really going on.
And then they talk to our pseudo villain of the very first few episodes, which was the sleazy reporter newspaper guy.
Yeah.
Who was constantly trying to get more and more scintillating.
He's trying to expose Flamenco, who he really is,
Because he's wanting newspapers, he's wanting TV shows, he's a thrill seeker. And he wants the greatest scandals and stuff because that's the news.
Yeah.
And he's willing to do whatever it takes to get it.
And so now he becomes an ally.
And so they eventually have to face off against the Prime Minister.
As it turns out, the reason the Prime Minister desperately needs such a high approval rating is because Japan actually has a suit of magic, armor.
That is passed down from Prime Minister to Prime Minister of the past to the future.
And if you have an approval rating of 100%, it bestows nigh godlike power unto you, so that you can protect Japan. Because there is an actual even greater threat that the Prime Minister has been trying to protect Japan from. And so now we have...
Alien Flamenco!
Yes! Aliens!
Which...
The show just gets crazier and
the
crazier.
art's so bizarre, they only take 2 episodes to deal with it.
There's a moment when he's dealing with the aliens where the show looks like it may go all End of Ava on us. It goes really existential and...
Well, the alien gives him up on the ship, and then he puts him on a riverbank.
People are more honest when they talk on riverbanks.
And that's something that comes up, too.
And then he's constantly putting in random English into it, where he's going sit down, sit down, sit down. We are one and number one. Things like, just out of nowhere. And he's trying to offer, the ability for Flamenco to this magic stone that can create rapid evolution, and they should just evolve with the aliens to become one further race. They want human instrumentality. And he's and type stuff, and he's like, no, that's stupid. And he's like, why is that stupid? It'll be peace. That's stupid peace.
That's stupid peace. So it's almost like it goes, hey. You could go into Ava.
Well, no, we're not even there yet.
We're not there yet?
We're not there yet, because once you beat
We're not there yet, you're right.
Because once he beats aliens, then he faces off against God.
That's right. And so now, finally, we get the answer for why. Why is everything flamenco?
Well, you finally find out why everything's going on, and it turns out that it's just the forces of the universe, where they want the forces that form the control of the universe want to focus on things.
Yeah.
They want bright, shining lights, of personalities that they can focus and build around. And it just turns out that they focus on Hazama. And because he wants to be a hero, the universe starts conforming to make him a hero.
Yeah, so he really was the center of the universe, kind of.
Yeah, and so
It's like, well, you can continue doing just what you're doing, and your adventures will get weirder and bigger and more bizarre, and it'll be awesome.
or you can go back and be normal and be like, whatever.
Well, didn't it also have something to do with, as it turns out, the word flamenco just happens to sound like a word that is a magic word in the universe that grants wishes. And that's just how the universe is, and he just happened to accidentally stumble upon it.
Right. And that's when the god pretty much goes, yo, dog. So, Ava? And then, husband's like, no, dog. Flamenco. It's cool, dog. I want to go back to regular world. I was just wanting the world to be a better place. I really didn't want to be a crazy superhero. I just want to be a hero, and I can do that just fine. And so, next thing we know, everything's back to normal?
Yeah, to normal.
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 And this is the point where we're taking a break, and we'll be coming back with the last chunk.
With flamenco versus real life.
Because the fact of the matter is that even when things were normal, things weren't really normal. We just didn't know any better.
So we'll be right back. Talking about more Samurai Flamenco. This is the OSMcast. So it's kind of interesting if you actually look at the build of the show. Again, it's 22 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And when you count it out, the amount of that crazy escalation stuff is 11 episodes.
Yeah.
And so the episodes leading up and then afterwards where everything is set back into normal times that are really normal times, it's another 11 episodes. And at the point of where we finish off with, Yo Dog Ava, No Dog Flamenco, it already feels like we've gotten to the end of the show.
Yeah.
We've already gotten to the end of the show. It feels like it's a good finale, but the show keeps going, and we were all kind of wondering, where is it going to go?
Yeah, how can it keep going on? Because he basically wished everything back to normal. That seems like a good end.
But it's not, because again, as we mentioned at the very beginning of the show, this is actually a show about delusions.
Yes.
And I don't think we said it. Well, we might have said it out loud. We're about to hit super spoilers.
Right, well, this is for the final portions of the show.
If you weren't paying attention, we're about to hit super spoilers.
Like I said, that Samurai Flamenco was a massive psychotic break from reality. I didn't say that Samurai Flamenco himself had a massive psychotic break from reality. As it turns out, that was a different character.
It was actually our voice of reason throughout the whole show, which is Goto. And he's always been texting his girlfriend throughout the entire show.
We never see this girlfriend. We just hear about her.
Yeah, and by now we're getting to the point of the show where it's been so long, and she still hasn't shown up. And even Hazuma, Samurai Flamenco, our crazy person, or so we thought was the crazy person, has started going, so, Goto, when can I meet your girlfriend? I really want to meet your girlfriend. I bet she's nice.
Well, what happens is that eventually Goto decides to set up a date with his girlfriend finally.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hazuma's really happy, because Goto's obviously really happy about this.
Yeah, and he's happy for his friend. His friend is happy, so he's happy.
And then he mentions it to Mari, and she's like, what? What?
Oh, yeah, because she has a thing for
Goto.
She has a thing for Goto, and
she has a thing for guys in uniform, and as Goto is a police officer, therefore...
Yeah.
And it's like, he's made it really clear, at least when talking to other people, it's like, no, I got a girlfriend, man. She's nice, but I got a girlfriend, and I'm totally loyal.
Yeah.
But she wants to meet this girlfriend, too, for entirely different reasons.
I got the impression, well, and we'll get to it, I'm pretty sure she knows exactly what's going on at that point, and it's just Samurai Flamenco who doesn't.
Well, there was a point during the second portion of the show where she's actually living with Goto after the events, and she has her big musical number by herself after she's been through hell and back.
Yeah.
And she ends up getting away from everything by staying with Goto.
Kind of crashes in his closet for a while.
And so, she has had more actual close contact every day with Goto than anybody else.
Yeah.
And so it's highly likely that she would understand or have inklings and be pretty sure I have an idea what's going on and that there's something wrong with him. And it turns out there is, whereas Goto's girlfriend went missing many, many years ago.
Like when he was still in high school.
And they've never found her. And so who knows what's going on.
And the way he felt to comfort himself was he kept sending her text messages, and it was actually bothering her father. So her father came and gave Goto the cell phone because every time it rang, it just reminded him that she wasn't there anymore. So Goto had her cell phone, so he started texting himself. And initially he was being super creepy about it, having two phones in each hand and texting each other back and forth. But he eventually learned, after his mother burnt her cell phone, to just be a little bit more on the down low about it.
He just texted himself.
So he's been texting himself the whole time. So when I said earlier that she was the voice of his conscience, she really is the voice of his conscience. A lot of times.
And then we start getting an entirely different kind of villain. A middle schooler kid.
Yeah, from the first episode.
Who is the guy who literally posted that first video.
In fact, I think that he's actually the one who made the wish, not Hazama. Because, as the universe said, Flamenco just happens to be a phoneme with the magic word that grants wishes in the universe. Much like the city of Eroge, Australia. I mean, to the Japanese, that means something completely different. And
so you get this whole final conflict, and where and this is the point where Hazama thinks he's delusional. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's just thinking of his kid because his kid supposedly is dead.
Supposedly dead. No one knows. No one ever sees him. He's like, he's the only one who's seeing this kid. His parents and friends say he's dead. And it's all the stuff that's happening around him. It's like, it's just nebulous enough that you're...
Yeah, and the world is super peaceful.
Right.
There's basically no crime going on. Everything's super peaceful. And so Hazama's wondering if maybe he's making this kid up to give himself something to do.
He needs some kind of superheroic conflict in his life. He's invented this evil mastermind who's tormenting him.
And as it turns out, no, it's just a crazy middle schooler kid.
Yeah, it's a crazy middle schooler kid.
Weird little loner middle school kid who latched onto him because he was the first person to ever say anything remotely giving a crap about him. And it rattled his brain. It sent him into full-on crazy town.
And so you end up with the show ending like it began, with Hazama naked.
Yep.
Naked Flamenco.
As Hazama decides that ultimately the only way to fight this kid, because the kid wants to fight Samurai Flamenco, the kid actually wants Samurai Flamenco to kill him so that he can live on forever as somebody that Samurai Flamenco killed. But Hazama doesn't want to kill this kid. And his final solution is that he can't defeat him in Samurai Flamenco, so he has to take off his uniform as Samurai Flamenco and fight him as Hazama. But this apparently means that he can't put on normal clothes. It has to be completely naked as he, wrestles the kid.
Well, also remember, this is the point where Hazama has to finally learn the final thing he's lacking as a hero. Love. He doesn't have love, although he does have love.
And so he's completely naked, coming at this kid and going, I'm going to defeat you with love! Then the middle school kid's going, what? No, you're a pervert! Put your clothes on!
And then it ends up being this real battle between him and Goto.
Yeah, because Goto, the kid, smashed Goto's phone. And deleted the last text message he got from his girlfriend. So Goto has gone, for real crazy.
It's like, Flamenco won't kill him, maybe he can make Flamenco's best friend kill him. And that would be just as good.
possibly better. And that's when you get the point where it's really obvious that he's, Hazuma and Goto probably still don't quite understand love, either one of them, because that's when Hazuma proposes.
Yes. So, Samurai Flamenco, this is probably the reason that I like Samurai Flamenco best. For no apparent reason and out of the blue, Samurai Flamenco ends in yaoi. Maybe.
Okay, I'm just being devil's advocate. I agree, it totally ends in yaoi. But maybe.
It ends in Hazuma being completely naked and proposing marriage to Goto and saying that he will do everything that Goto's girlfriend did.
Oh, yeah.
Because the entire show is about this bromance between these two characters. And that's why this is the culmination of it. Where it's really starting like it's ending with the two of them having an argument.
Yeah.
About one of them being crazy and the other one trying to be sane. And it really turns out neither one of them is particularly,
Neither one of them really has that great a grasp on sanity. Like, neither one, really.
And really, this reminds me, the show, I feel the show as a character does have growth and development in what it's doing with things, but it's not really a show where the characters have development.
Well, Goto makes one big step. In that after Hazuma's marriage proposal, he gets a text message from his girlfriend saying that she's going to be away for a while, she's going on a long trip. And so in my opinion, that's him making a step towards sanity. He's not sane yet, but he's on a road to recovery. Of course, in kind of like the final wrap up of everything going on, she texts him again. But so she texts him again just as Hazuma, starts pulling off his clothes to reveal his Samurai Flamenco outfit underneath his clothes. So neither one of them has really changed, but they understand each other better, and they seem to be trying to be sane.
There's a little character growth.
It's a little bit of a baby step, but it's an important step.
And I really do think this is one of those shows that's honestly more about the ride than it is, like, the show.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Where this is honestly more of a show that you watch and enjoy for what it is. Like, there are underlying tones, there are underlying messages, but it's not really, those don't really get resolved. It's a really interesting show in that respect. Because most shows that are kind of like this usually aren't very good. Because a lot of shows that are like this, that are more the journey than the destination, aren't always the greatest, but this one really pulls it off.
Yeah, it really does.
And I think it is because its pace is so breakneck. It's so, like, you've got that middle period where everything gets so dramatic, and every couple episodes there's a shift, a quick, dramatic genre shift change.
Yeah. I would actually argue that the only reason I think, to me, the pace didn't feel that fast is I was watching at the same time as Kill la Kill, which had an insane pace.
Well, it's a little bit like it's a little bit like an Apollo mission. It starts off down to Earth, it suddenly takes off, goes around the moon, but then comes back safely to Earth.
Yeah. That's right. We're from Huntsville. We have rockets. And that's how we determine things.
They call it the Rocket City, people.
With rocket metaphors. So in the end, I feel it's a show about delusions where, the universe literally starts... Well, the first delusions are Hazuma's.
Yeah, like, the show is about delusions, but they're not just about Hazuma's, because as, we pointed out, Goto has his delusions, and he has his delusions the whole way through. We just don't know it.
He just functions better in normal society. His delusion is of a sort that, unless you know him...
He's basically hiding it.
Yeah.
Like...
There's
several times in the early series that he freaks out about where's his phone, and you don't realize that...
Right. Well, I'll say that the show starts off with its show literally indulging Hazuma's delusions.
Yeah.
The show is really just giving everything to him on a platter.
Yeah.
And that's why you get that, escalation, and then it comes back down to normalcy. And that's why you get the shift to Goto's.
Yeah.
His delusions, because the universe is done indulging Hazuma, because he asked for it to stop.
Yeah.
So now we have to move on and show Goto's and what he's been dealing with the entire show.
Yeah.
And so it is a show where I feel the journey is much more important than the destination, but I still feel that it nails the ending.
It does.
And so it still works out.
Well, I really love this show. Like, I keep recommending it to people. I really like the first opening theme. Like, that's, if you just need to get pumped, like, that's a great song.
Mm-hmm. So I think at this point we're going to take another break, and then we'll come back with questions from listeners like you. And we are back.
Hooray!
So, once again, much like the Kill la Kill episode, we fielded questions from Twitter, and people sent them to us. So we're going to answer them for you,
My
listeners,
God.
like you. And we start off with Impassionate K, or Corey Surjak, if you look at the name on the Twitter. How do you see Goto's growth throughout the series? Good or bad?
I think I touched on this a little bit, but I do see it as a positive growth. Like, I think it starts out with him. He's really out of touch with reality. He really is maladjusted from having his girlfriend disappear. And so even though as the show goes on, we learn that he has all this going on, it was still going on at the beginning of the show. We just didn't know about it. So by the end of the show, he's, at the very least, if he's not in a relationship with Hazma at the end of the show, he's at the very least very close friends with him, and that's really the most important part.
And
he's making
he is taking a baby step. He's taken a few baby steps towards getting better.
Yeah, he's taken a few baby steps, but at least he's taken those steps, whereas at the beginning of the show, he wasn't even inclined to take those steps.
You wonder if he was even conscious that he was mailing himself anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's the trick is that there's not a lot of growth. There's a little growth, and it is good growth.
Yeah.
Like, I could totally see them doing like a I wouldn't want like a full-fledged sequel, but maybe like a movie sequel type thing where they show
I want
characters.
an OAV that's like them on their honeymoon.
You know, I'm anime I'd say this for, but yeah, I'd like to see that.
The end, we're not even sure if they're really together or not, or if they're just really good friends. I mean, there was a marriage proposal. It was neither accepted or rejected.
Hazuma pulled out the naked man. It works 2 out of 3 times.
And then the one and only, the internet's Paul Chapman, asked, "Why did this show have to make me sad?" And to which I did have to then ask him, what exactly of the show did make you sad?
Yeah, I don't know why it made you sad.
I know when the monster stopped showing up, I was really sad. Oh, wait.
And he then responded with, it was the drastic shift at the end of episode 7, where all of a sudden, gruesome murder.
Oh, yes. That's because the show had lulled you into a false sense of security that nothing bad could happen. So when something bad actually did happen, it was that much... It wasn't just that much more powerful. Like, it felt a little more real when it happened. It was just a little bit more shocking because...
I think they needed that to sell the, now there's suddenly a guillotine gorilla is a thing that exists in this world now. They needed brutal death to help sell the ridiculousness.
And, you know, something I think I didn't mention quite as much as I probably should have was, you know, initially, all those initial bad guys, they always blew themselves up. And initially, Hazma was really upset about this. You know, he was really upset that these guys, like, if, if they, even if they weren't brainwashed, they were at least committing suicide, so somebody should care. But a couple of episodes later, and even he's a little bit numb to it, And I think that might be part of why, because the show really illustrates how horrific murder suddenly is, and then it gets normal, and isn't that kind of how we feel in a lot of anime, that like in Kill la Kill, bodies were just flying left and right, you didn't blink twice.
And even in like the inspiration material, tokusatsu shows, even if maybe the civilians aren't getting killed, but
isn't murder really like...
These monsters are getting killed.
Gruesome and awful.
And especially in a lot of... not all Kamen Rider type shows, but many Kamen Rider shows, the monster of the week are sometimes just normal people who've been turned into monsters.
Yeah. So that's my response. I think the show made you sad at that point because, one, I think it was trying to make you sad by lulling you into a false sense of security. And two, I think you're probably just a very sensitive, good person.
Now, it may be a case of... he was really enjoying what the show was.
Ah, that could be it.
And then they completely changed the tone of the show. Mm-hmm. And in which case, I think it might have just been a case of they weren't... what they had set up, they weren't actually capable of writing out 22 episodes of that. It might just not be a topic that could support something that long-term. Mm-hmm. Or at least at the pace and budget they had to create the show in.
Yeah.
And that could be a possibility. Dusakar asked, Samurai Flamenco, train wreck or multi-track drifting?
Multi-track drifting. With a little bit of train wreck thrown in.
Multi-track drifting. I think it did. I think it earned its sudden genre shifts and escalations.
Yeah. For me, I was down with it. Like, I was really worried they couldn't nail that ending, and then they did twice.
Yeah. They nailed the ending multiple times.
Which is really amazing because so many anime have issues nailing the ending.
Yes.
Like, you'll start getting a pretty good beginning and sometimes a really interesting middle, or it might be like a really lackluster middle, and so you don't care about the ending anymore, or...
Was it Flamenco? Was this show you said the scriptwriter also did the script for Galilei Dona?
Yes.
And that had a shitty ending. That they did not only did not stick the ending, they landed flat on their face and had to go to the hospital. That had a bad ending.
And of course, she was writing both at the same time, so that might have been it. And this also could be a case of, because the in between 11 episodes was so crazy, they sort of got around it by doing all this sudden escalation. They got around that hump by just charging over the hump. It's like when you're driving and you know you've got a mountain, you speed up ahead of time. So when your car naturally slows because you're on a hill, that way you just keep the momentum going. That's kind of what the show did.
Well, I also can't wonder if, we've talked about how it doesn't seem to be being received as well as we think it should be received, both here and in Japan. And I can't help but wonder if part of that is because some parts of the show are honestly straight up homages to these older, like, Kotatsu and Sentai style.
And
heroes.
Sometimes they're satiring it and pointing out the foibles of it.
And that actually leads us to our next question by Alan Mendez of the Reverse Thieves, or Hisui RT, as his Twitter goes. What is your favorite and least favorite genre change in the series?
I think my favorite was switching to the aliens. Switching to the aliens was...
Well, my favorite villain was the alien, just because he was also secretly the American hero guy.
Yeah. And
that's why he kept going with the English thing. The whole sit down, we are one and number one. Yeah, that nailed it for me, but I really, just the thing where it started with one, and then you start with more of the Kamen Rider solo act, and then suddenly moved on into full-on Flamengers, Super Sentai.
I might say my favorite was when it suddenly went full Kamen Rider on me. Just the first one. Just like, whoa. I was really worried like Godo was going to get shot or something. And then it's like, guillotine gorilla, mother of God. It's like...
I think my least favorite was probably when they switched to the government conspiracy.
See, part of me, I don't really have a least favorite. I always enjoyed them pretty well because I liked that because that was even more dramatic shit. It felt like it felt like they were going up and up and up, and then they sideswerved.
Yeah,
And then it was again, to go back into the driving metaphor, it's like you're driving the mountains, and so you're going up and up and down, and you're going down a little bit, up, and then you have to sort of curve around the mountain.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. And then like, holy crap, there's a really awesome fall, I can really get some speed, and go, whoa! That was what it was for me.
I have to say, I like the Sentai arc, but right before they got to the end of that, I was thinking, this arc really needs to end. It was wearing its welcome out on me a little bit for the last couple episodes of it, where they resolved it and moved on to the next, and which is funny. I'm like, they gave him a giant robot. This is great, and then I think it went on for just like an episode longer than it needed to.
Of course, my favorite moment was the marriage proposal, though.
Yes,
like that was the best twist.
All right, then Alan asks, "What, if anything, do you think the show was saying about the tokusatsu and superhero tradition?"
That it's both awesome and kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that is ultimately what it was saying. It's awesome and ridiculous.
And
maybe talking a little bit about how the innocence of it.
yeah, well, I mean, they were, it was, a lot of it, they also were wanting to use it to inspire kids. But I think there was a reason why, when presented the chance to have even crazier adventures or not, our flamenco buddy decided he wanted normalcy.
The moral and ethical answer is to say, nah, dude, flamenco.
He then asks, who would be your evil nemesis be in the tokusatsu/superhero universe? What would your hero identity be?
Oh, that's a really complex question. I have to think about.
Well,
I know mine. We found that out actually earlier today. To go against the evil forces of Niktra, I would lead the forces of Wehn Basil, the real anime hero. Wehn Basil's always there.
Sadly, I think I would be Chaos, and I think I would be the bad guy. It's more like who would be my...
I strongly believe that, I'm not sure, I probably imagine I would be some kind of Kamen Rider-esque hero, and my enemy would probably be a robotic Abraham Lincoln, and his main evil minions would be, one would be made of ice, one would be a living pool caliber, and the other would be Vic Mañana. Just Vic Mañana. Maybe with superpowers.
I will say in my universe, which, because you think about it, for us, and we might get into this later, stuff like G.I. Joe and whatnot was sort of our growing up, our thing, but for Japan, it really was like the tokusatsu, Kamen Rider, Super Sentai,
closest thing
stuff
we probably had was like He-Man.
Yeah. Infascinate K has come back with, has flamenco worked for you?
Yes, flamenco worked for me. Flamenco worked for me.
What'd you get?
I got surprise Yowie.
Oh, okay.
I got surprise two dudes together. Yes.
Yeah. Somewhere in the middle of that last arc, I did start going, if this show ends in Yowie, I think it's earned it.
Yeah. Just.
And then our final question comes from Jewel Pet Tentacle, or Passion Tentacle. He
keeps changing his screen name.
Yes. Are there any aspects of superhero fiction you feel flamenco failed to touch upon?
Well, I don't think it really touched upon Western superhero fiction too well. Although it did touch upon Western superhero fiction a little bit. There was the American superhero guy who first appeared in the...
Mr. Justice.
Mr. Justice.
Who first appeared in the government conspiracy arc, and the final arc was a little bit Batman the Dark Knight inspired.
Well, I think it was touched upon enough, about as much as Japan really cares about Western superheroes.
Yeah.
I really do feel that the trick is this is a Japanese cartoon.
Yeah.
And I think the tokusatsu Super Sentai stuff is really the...
The weird thing is, stuff like Batman and Spider-Man and X-Men actually do sell reasonably well in Japan. They do get translated, and they do sell reasonably well.
I also thought that the Magical Girls could have been touched upon as a genre a little bit better, because I love the flamenco girls. Like, I thought those characters were just fine. It's more that I just felt like there wasn't really a magical girl. Like, the magical girls kind of showed up as an accessory. They weren't, like, a real magical girl thing. And, you know, Samurai Flamenco got all his real hero things, so why not get real magical girls?
That reminds me back earlier in the conversation, there is that arc where Mari is really down and living in Goto's house that I honestly was thinking, man, they really need to do something with these characters, and, like, soon. And that's the episodes where friends came and had intervention and smacked her in the face, and then they made out. It was great.
But
so it does give you just a little Yuri. So if you
there's just a little of something here for everybody.
There's a little Yuri along with the yaoi. It's cool. It's cool, guys. Equal opportunity.
But like I think there wasn't as much. I think Samurai Flamenco should have become a magical girl.
That would have been awesome.
Is what I think should have happened. Like, while this series was spiraling out of control, he should have had like an episode where he got a skirt and was a magical girl.
And they never did ninjas.
Oh, you're right. They never did
ninjas.
It's true. Well, I mean, are really ninjas heroes?
Yeah.
Yeah. They shouldn't be, or pirates. Much like pirates and ninjas, in theory, should not be heroes by the nature of what they did historically. But
they are.
But my question then is that something that really has a tradition in Japanese culture?
Ninjas more than pirates.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I don't really... Pirates is more, honestly, One Piece is sort of really, kicked off that boon. And you don't really see it in anywhere else besides One Piece.
But there was an absence of mythological heroes.
Yeah.
There was an absence of mythological
Although
heroes.
the Prime Minister's super suit had kind of the weird...
Yeah, you're right.
Had kind of the weird Buddhist back halo.
You're right. I take it back. Because of the Prime Minister, it did touch briefly upon, like
his suit had some stylings that had both kind of Shinto and Buddhist and a little bit Hindu structure to their design.
Okay. So I take it back about my comment about the mythological figures. It did have that.
Not that they dwelled on it, but
no, they didn't really deal with like ninjas and oddly enough, samurai, despite him being
a
Samurai Flamenco with his buddy Samurai Cop.
Samurai Policeman with his crappy store-bought cop costume, not his real policeman uniform.
Go figure.
That was something actually putting on.
Technically, it was Mari's cosplay cop outfit she made him put on once.
Or a few times.
A few hundred times. I don't know. They were living together for a while.
That's probably why he still had access to it. So anyways, those were our questions. Thank you all so much for sending them to us. Really appreciate them. It's becoming a really fun section for our various shows. So do please keep sending them in when you do. And now we're going to take another break, and we'll come back with our awesomes out of awesome. So, we're finally coming back to a Samurai Flamenco. It's a fun show. It's really enjoyable. You should watch it. It's on Crunchyroll. And probably Daisuke and Hulu, but we know for sure Crunchyroll. So, how many awesomes out of awesomes can you give something that is like Samurai Flamenco?
6,400.
I give it flamenco out of flamenco.
All right.
Of awesome.
Well, that's important. You have to have the out of awesomes. So I'm going to give it. Hero will never give up, never hide, never be defeated, never accept evil. Out of awesome.
Nice.
So thank you once again for listening to the OSMcast. We are the OSMcast. I'm Basil.
I'm Doug.
I'm Kevin.
That's us. You can find us at OSMcast.com. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr at OSMcast. You can subscribe to us on RSS, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever you want. We've got an RSS feed for you. You can find me on Twitter at It's Basil Time. You can find Kevin on Twitter at Twitless_Kevin. That is us. Thank you for listening, and we are out.
Thick rhymes.
Boop. Boop.
Yeah. Rap, kitty, rap. I got nothing.